Hey guys, welcome back to the show. So last week we talked a bit about being authentic or really being yourself online. You and I both know that when you follow other people on Twitter or YouTube or any other social channel, we relate best to those people that are really being themselves. When they're overly scripted or creating very curated content, it's interesting for a bit, but after a while it kind of loses its mojo because it's just not super engaging. It's hard to follow somebody who's not really being themselves necessarily. Sometimes it is, but at least for me, oftentimes it doesn't really, keep me interested for a very long time. So today I want to talk a bit more about like getting our hands on posting and how often you should do that, etc. So, before we talk too much about how often you each should post online, what you should do with those posts, and the type of content you should be putting out there, obviously, that's all pretty subjective to your personal brand and what you're trying to accomplish. What I want to talk a bit about, and it's something that I'm still kind of developing for myself, but I think it's really important, is this idea of what we, people call a content calendar or a content schedule. And the idea here is that, building a calendar of when you're going to post and what you're going to post allows you in advance to prep what type of content you want to put out there. We'll get to kind of why that's important in just a moment. From a reporting kind of perspective and like future planning. But what I want to talk about this very second is creating that calendar allows you to take ideas you're having today and start putting them on a calendar. Pick certain days of the week. Let's say you want to post 3 times a week. Maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's an easy one. Pick a time of day that you like or that is comfortable for you. And kind of schedule out on those dates and times. You're going to do a tweet, an Instagram post, a Facebook post, or a LinkedIn post, whatever it happens to be that works for your brand and works for what you like doing. Put that on a calendar. Now, the calendar can be your Google Calendar, something on your iPhone, or something as simple as a spreadsheet that you just put out there. The idea of writing it down in a calendar type format, or at least some sort of tracking mechanism, gives you this ability to kind of plan out your week or plan out your month. Just like you would do with any note-taking that you do, or task management tool like a Remember the Milk or Evernote. The idea here is that you're going to plan this out so you can think about it up front. Write some ideas down, put out some ideas on certain dates that you want to publish. And publish, I mean just you're going to post something about that on a given date and time, whether it's a simple tweet or actually a link to a book that you're reading, whatever it is. You just want to put that on a calendar so that on this date and time, I'm going to post something about this. Now that it's in paper or it's kind of written down, now you can plan for it. Now you can actually think about this a little bit more, write it out, and if it's good for a kind of a long form post, like a blog post or possibly even LinkedIn, excellent. Or it could just be something as simple as a tweet that you want to put out linking to a video. Whatever it is, at least you've got it written down and you can start scheduling it. And really the benefit of doing this sort of thing is that while it sounds like a little bit of work up front, it's a lot better, at least in my opinion, to do this work at the beginning of a week or the beginning of a month. Spend 15, 20 minutes taking some ideas you've had, putting them onto a calendar for the course of a month and prepping for it. And possibly even taking the next step, which is using a tool like a Buffer or a Hootsuite. We'll talk about those on another episode. To schedule that content if you have it ready so that it's just done. This kind of nets you out the least amount of upfront work to get content prepped to go out on dates and times in advance. And that way, as we talk about time management in future episodes, we can, really spend more time actually engaging with the community or the audience that we want to engage with, rather than always trying to keep in the back of our mind, well, what do I want to post next? When should I post that? How should I post that? Sometimes if you're like me, I'm driving, I just got here to San Jose, the Cisco campus, and as I was driving down, I was listening to a couple podcasts that I really love hearing. And I get super inspired when I listen to those. And they're usually the best times for me to dictate to Evernote what things I want to post ever, really. So I find if I just do that, I have kind of a running list of things that I'm interested in scheduling or putting out there, so that once a week I can go into my content calendar, pull from that stuff that I've been making notes about randomly, some things I like, some things I may not like anymore, but I can take that stuff and I can just prep the idea a little bit and then schedule it 2 weeks out or 3 weeks out or even 2 days out. And this kind of lets me, think about it later when I've got some more mental energy to come back to it, because we don't all have like huge reserves to be super inspired all day long to tackle this on a preset schedule. If you're anything like me, your inspiration kind of comes in waves, either throughout a course of a day or a week. And those times when you actually are inspired, it really helps to have a lot of this already written down from other times that you were inspired, so you can just come back to it and get working. But if you're anything like me, if you have a moment of inspiration, you haven't really written anything down, it's hard sometimes to find that thing that you really want to work on at that point in time and feel like you're accomplished. Sometimes you can end up feeling like you've wasted some energy. So I like to start writing things down as much as I possibly can in advance when I have the moments that I think about it, so I can come back to that later on. And something like a content calendar is really helpful right now for getting you used to having a set schedule for when you're going to post this content, and it's going to make even more of a difference later on when we want to go back and do some reporting and actually understand how well did that content do on those dates and times. Maybe I should change it to a different date and time. Would that give me better reach into the audience that I'm trying to get a hold of? So that kind of covers what I wanted to go through today. There's going to be a lot more talk I want to do in the future about taking that content calendar and doing a lot more with it, bringing in more social networks to it and more content types. But we'll get to that down the road. Again, like always, if you have any questions or comments or any feedback at all, definitely put it in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to hear any feedback. If we want to try to do something different for future episodes, that'd be fantastic. Have a great day, guys. Cheers.